Hey guys, it's Meta,
And Tala.
and welcome back to our podcast,
Learned the Hard Way.
So today we're going to be talking about GCSE. So it's a bit of a shift from what we were talking about last time. Now we're talking about, the stressful environment of year 11 and how to overcome this very extreme period of time.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I have a brother in year 11. I think this is relevant for a lot of people. And we hope that it helps people out, give them a bit of structure, a bit of guidance, and just something you guys can come back to if, you're trying different things and they're not working out. Because that is one thing I do want to make clear. Like, we're going to mention a lot of methods and different tips and tricks, but they might not all work for you, and you're gonna have to try out different things, see if they work, see if you like them, how beneficial they are for you. And this is your time to kind of stamp in the techniques that are gonna work for you to then transfer into post-16.
Exactly, and I completely agree. So no matter what year you're currently in while listening to this, keep this in mind, and let's start with some of the tips and tricks that we used. So number 1, revision timetable.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is something I think I only realized how useful it is, to be honest, in post-16. It didn't click in during GCSE for me, but when I was, especially in post-16, or even in GCSE, the exams and the mocks, when there's so much going on, sometimes sitting down and organizing what you're going to do helps give you so much structure and also give you that sense of accomplishment.
Yes, exactly, and I completely agree. I remember you waking up at 7 a.m. in the morning and making some eggs and a coffee, and that is also a beneficial part, by the way. Just having a nice routine throughout the day can also really help you de-stress because it just allows you to take some time away from thinking about all your subjects, all your studies, and
just think about you.
Exactly.
Take care of you.
Exactly. So going back to revision timetables, it's important to, when you're structuring your timetable, to be specific about what topics to revise. So instead of saying 7:50 to 8:50 bio, what topic in bio?
Yeah, be really specific. And again, that comes back to the sense of accomplishment, because then you won't feel unaccomplished by saying, oh, I did bio, but I didn't actually do a lot. You'd be like, no, actually, I did exactly what I wanted to get done today. I finished this checklist. I did the content, and I did practice. To feel accomplished and to also be fully aware of where you're at with your revision timetable. And I think that's why, for example, the revision schedules and lists, content lists that your teachers put up, those can help in structuring and forming your revision timetable.
Absolutely, but it's also important to remember to be flexible and realistic. If you're going to start cramming a bunch of different subjects to study for and create a timetable of, it can often just lead you to being burnt out at the end of the day. Have breaks and be realistic about what you're actually able to accomplish within a day.
Yeah.
It's not realistic that you're going to be able to finish 10 things in one day. So
take this from us, because we've many a times, left things last minute, because we're human and it happens. But trust me, it is much easier if you just structure it out. Me and Meta can give you thousands of examples when we've left revision or homework or any kind of work last minute, and it stresses you out, and you don't want to put yourself in that position when you're already under so much stress from other things like your exams and assignments and deadlines.
So tip, start revising early, because I promise you it will just be so much easier that way. And second of all, what I found really useful, and Tala introduced me to it actually, is the Pomodoro technique. Do you want to explain it?
Yeah, I'm the biggest fan of this, guys. I actually was literally using this yesterday. This is one of my biggest, because I am a massive procrastinator, guys. If you want to meet a procrastinator, come to me. I will delay things as much as I can. I'll sit down to do something. It will not get done for another 2 hours. And I think Pomodoro gives me, again, that sense of structure and accomplishment. If basically how it works, there's a website called PomoFocus. You can use that, guys. And there's different timings, but the timing I use, for example, so you study for 40 minutes and you have 5-minute breaks, and then after 4 sessions of those 40 minutes, you get a 10-minute break or an extended break. And of course, you can extend it for lunch or whatever, but it's just having that structure. And again, it helps with that revision timetable, because I can put it as a list, and once I'm done with it, ka-ching, check, and it's so satisfying.
It was such a blessing. I remember when I was introduced to it during the GCSE period, and when I was under just a lot of stress and I didn't know how to organize my time, having this, even if it was just 5 minutes of time to just relax, maybe just go on my phone or maybe even read a book for 5 minutes, it really helped me. And it helped clear my mind before I started again, and it creates this really productive cycle.
Oh, for sure. And
I just want to also add, this is Amra, but as much as I love the Pomodoro technique, it was something that didn't work for me, and a few of my friends also just didn't work for us, just because we felt as if the 5-minute break would just lead us to extending that break a little too long. So for some people it will work, for some people it won't. For example, for myself, I just like to wake up as early as possible before the sun was up and just sit down, give myself like an hour just to watch a YouTube video while I eat my breakfast, and then just start studying in the morning, just so I can study from, for example, from 7 to 12. That is a long period of chunk of time where I'm just able to study and get things done, and then the rest of the day, a whole 9 hours, I'm able to keep that to myself. And if I want to extend my studying even further, I could. Just like getting things early and done with is so helpful to me, and I know a lot of people do. So just like Pomodoro is like a technique, there's so many different ways, and just taking the time and taking that mock period, a time to like test different ways and how you study, is so crucial. As much as you think, oh, it doesn't matter as much, it doesn't. However, it gives you the opportunity to try different things, and that's so important.
Yes, I completely agree.
yeah, I think Amra's hit the nail on the head there. It's something so important to keep in mind. Like we said in the beginning of this, not all techniques are going to work for you. They worked for me in Meta, and it was great, and it allowed us to work together, something Meta will mention in a second. But for Amra and for a lot of people, it didn't. And, that is okay. I know my brother, he's been trying out, just like Amra said, he's nearing his mock period, and he's trying out different techniques, blurting, mind maps, notes, Pomodoro, videos, everything possible. But it doesn't mean that it's all going to work for him or that he's going to stick with all of them. You've just got to try out everything. And like Amra said, even though that mock period isn't a grades thing, it's a good time to experiment and trial and see your potential.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's exactly the point. Another one that I think a lot of people will find appealing and was probably really beneficial for me as well is Zoom calls. Go on calls with your friends and motivate each other. Now, this is not me saying go on call with your friends and just goof around and just forget about studies. Go on call with friends. Try and maybe implement some of these techniques while on call, because just having another person with you, or just knowing that there's another person with you, will just help you focus better, because you just know that you're not the only one who's going through it and going through the stress. And just knowing, I remember when I used to go on calls with Tala, to revise for history, for example, and I just remember absolutely stressing out, but knowing that Tala was there on the other side, not only just stressing out, but also there to help me if I needed assistance, was really beneficial, because I just knew that I had someone to rely on in this stressful period.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to bring up Pomodoro again, but that's actually how, first of all, I told you about Pomodoro, and that's how we kind of implemented it, because we would do it together, and we would push each other, like Amber was mentioning, to not delay those or like extend those breaks, and also be as productive as possible during our sessions. But do like recognize that your friends need to be a support system for you all the time. But if you are going to Zoom call with them, try to avoid that distraction, that easy way of like leaving things behind or going on, gossip talks forever. You don't want to get in that pattern for yourself and for them. You want to make sure that you both, or all of you, are working to your best potential.
And that's why I remember I have a nasty habit of slipping into these different talks, and I just remember Tala kept me in check. So always have that one person. If you feel like the conversation is sort of slipping away, just put each other back on track, and it's really helpful.
But of course, do be sensitive and sympathetic. You don't want to make someone feel like they shouldn't stress. I mean, I understand, you want to stay on track, but understand each other. Again, treat everyone the way you want to be treated. But yeah, another thing, this is what I did a lot. Again, we're going to mention this a lot, but me and Meta, history overtook our lives for a GCSE. And I think going to the teacher sessions that were set up in school, we're so lucky to have so many sessions set up by our teachers after school for GCSE, for IB, A levels, whatever pathway you took. Your teachers will set up sessions, and I really do recommend that you do take advantage of them and utilize them as much as you can. For history, me and Meta would go to those sessions after school, that exam prep, that content, any refining. You never know. That extra mark that you get might be the difference between a grade or two.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be after school. I mean, we went to a session right before our exam.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember that session was also just so beneficial because it helps you revise the structure of your answers, especially for heavy written-based exams like history, psychology, economics. A lot of the marks rely on the structure of how you write things, and just quickly going over this and recapping it before your tests can really be beneficial, because then it's fresh in your mind, and when you go in, you just have it already floating in your brain and you can just write it down very smoothly.
Yeah, something you're going to go through in these sessions, but you should also 1,000% do at home and yourself, is past papers. Yeah. Guys, I can't, Amber over here is smiling. They are everything, and they will always be everything in every single format of pathway and learning that you will take. Past papers help you so much, not only, like Meta said, by learning that structure, but also, hence the name, testing your knowledge against what it would actually look like. And especially when you're getting to those real exams, you want to prepare yourself what it's actually going to be like. And there's so many resources out there, for physics, for math, for any of the sciences. There's physics and math tutor. Oh, that.
There's also
Cognity, yes, for our
for
IBs.
IB.
Yeah, amazing. But physics and math tutor was everything. And I know for A levels it's used a lot as well. So, take that as you will, you guys.
Yeah, and the best part about past papers for GCSE is that they're so abundant. There's so many that you can find online, so you'll never run out. You might be thinking, oh, I don't want to do that many past papers right now because I'm scared that I'll run out. There are so many. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them online. So keep practicing and keep doing them, because this is the best practice possible. And also learn how the mark scheme is structured, because
this is a savior, you guys.
Exactly, because in GCSEs, within the GCSEs, there are obviously different exam boards. So we have AQA, we have EdXL, we have Cambridge, and learning how these different exam boards like to have their answers structured can be really beneficial to know how you are supposed to write your answers. So looking back at mark schemes, and again doing as many past papers as possible, allows you to understand what the questions are asking you to do and what specific points the exam board wants you to reference.
And for those subjects like Meta mentioned, psychology, history, economics, business, those kind of subjects, if you're not sure, send them to your teachers, whether it's during those teacher sessions or just at home through any communication platform that you have with your teachers. For example, we have Teams. Trust me, your teachers want you to do the best you can. They want to help you. And I sent so many to my history teacher, bless her, she answered them all. But they were so helpful, because it is all about refining those tiny techniques and tiny little things. And if you run out of those, if by chance you run out of past papers, there are question banks, guys. Your teachers will upload them, like we said, on physics and math tutor, AQA, Save My Exams.
I meant to say Cognito.
Oh,
yes.
Cognito.
That app was amazing. It was brilliant.
Yes, Cognito was also great, especially for science. I remember for bio, chem, and physics, Cognito was absolutely beneficial. And now moving on to the very final tip and trick that we have for you here today is my personal favorite, reward systems.
Oh.
I remember that during GCSEs, I loved having a little reward system. So when I completed something and I felt accomplished, I would treat myself to a little
something.
A little treat.
A little something.
I'll go to the fridge and I'll probably have, a little tub of ice cream or a little chocolate.
Yeah, and to those whose reward systems are a little more positive, go for a run, read, relax, whatever it is, guys. We get it.
I'm not saying that after everything that you take off, you go and you just start hoarding your cabinet, because this is a reward system. It's also important to remember to keep that healthy lifestyle, because obviously it helps you
retain information better. Your best self is going to be the best person to go into that exam. And I know you guys have heard this a lot about your mental health, about healthy eating, about sleep, about water. But guys, it does matter. And, I recognize that when I was going to test and I either hadn't drunk water or didn't have breakfast or didn't sleep well, I was struggling more. Now, whether that produces the biggest change, that's up to you guys to decide. But I would say put your best foot forward. And by doing that, have a full breakfast, water, be in the best mood you can. Any meditation or relaxation techniques you guys have, all of us here, we're still human. We do struggle with moments of intense stress. Everyone has their own way of relaxing. For me, I do the thing where you focus on 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can smell, whatever. Everyone has their own techniques. Use them, trial them out, and see how to make yourself as healthy of a mind and body as possible to go into those exams.
Exactly. I mean, from personal experience, one of my mistakes was not sleeping enough. I remember, especially towards the end of my exams. Another important point, when you're reaching the end of your exam period, don't slack off.
Yeah.
But that's a different issue.
Yeah.
I just remember that I personally just started thinking, it's almost over, so my sleep isn't important, my eating habits aren't important. And this did have an effect on my how I just mentally felt and how present I was when I was taking that exam. I mean, I didn't feel as good as I did compared to the exams that I took when I was focusing on my well-being.
Actually, on that point, guys, that's something really important. I mean, I had the last ever GCSE exam of that year, which was food tech, and it was over a weekend, so I had lost so much motivation, so much momentum, and honestly, Amra too, she had DT, Minna too, she had dance. I think I can speak for all of us. We lost so much motivation.
I'll be completely honest with you guys. I remember it was the last one. My friends had all finished, and they somehow convinced me to go out the day before my GCSE. I genuinely don't know, because I'm a person, I woke up at 5 a.m. to start my day, and then going from that to going out before a GCSE was insanity to me. But the thing is, because I knew I was working hard, so did my friends, that break for 2 hours, that just changed my mindset for that last exam, and I pushed through and I got my 9, and I was very proud of myself. When you give yourself that break, it's as much as you think studying till 12 o'clock will help you, it will cause more detriment for your later exams. You not having that sleep, you breaking from your routine can have such an effect on your mental health, as well as when you enter your exams. For me, this is something I did. It might be cringe for some of you guys, but I always have a specific song I would listen to. It would just put me in the mood. It put me in the right headspace. I was like, I'm as much a lack of control I had for what those assessments and the content that they were going to bring. I had control over the little things, what I was going to eat, what I was going to listen to, the mindset I'm going to enter with. Like, all of those were things I could control. And when you put that in your brain and you have that positive mind, even the locker I placed my bags in were the same. You know what I mean? Just having that consistency and keeping your brain in that mindset.
Those little sparkles of joy.
Exactly. When you just keep her in this, it's beautiful. And you just keep that. It's like little things that will help you so much. And as much as you'll be like, no, it doesn't matter, just give yourself that little satisfaction, and you will see a difference in your exams. Go in with a positive mindset. That is so crucial. With every single one of your exams, tell yourself you're going to do well. Make sure you don't everyone else, and you look at everyone else and you're going to tell them, we are going to do well. Because the moment you slip up, the moment you're like, no, I'm going to fail, sometimes that's exactly what will happen. You know what I mean?
You know, your mindset does make you. Now, I will say, Amra's completely right. You do genuinely need a break, especially for those like all of us here that did have those exams over an extended week. But if you do need that extra bit of motivation, because I know it was so hard to keep that drive and momentum going, especially when you were seeing all your friends going out, having fun. And we already know all of your friends are going to be telling you, oh, I'm not doing my exams. But
it was torture.
It really was. But I would say the way I kept myself going was, first of all, being like, this is my last exam. I will have, first of all, accomplished something. And second of all, we'll have finished my GCSEs, finished this section of my life, go into a new one. And for everyone, you're entering one of the best summers I think I've ever had. So to use those to keep you motivated. If you ever do feel demotivated, maybe write down a list of things you're grateful for, things that you're looking forward to, your goals, your aspirations. Use them as like a point of like, no, you know what? For this exact thing, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, you can create maybe like a little Pinterest board or something to...
Guys, Pinterest, trust me, guys and girls, guys, believe me, they are so helpful.
They are. So just create like a little board of like things that can potentially motivate you. For example, it can be something as simple as prom. I mean, looking forward to this event that you can share with other people and your friends. This can be something that you look forward to. So you can create this little board and, every time you're feeling demotivated, just look at it and be like, yes, this is what I'm striving towards and I'm going to push through.
And I'm going to reach it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Guys, you will be okay. I know it seems like sometimes overwhelming and daunting, and that's completely normal, but you will reach the end line and do it with your like best effort, best motivation, best mindset. And hopefully when you do open up those cards in August, or if at any other year, whatever year you guys in that you're listening to this in, whatever year group you're in, you all have goals. Whenever you reach the end and you reach those goals, just feel really satisfied with yourself, knowing you've done your best, done all you can, and enjoy your summer.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, on that note, guys, we hope to see you next week. We have a very, very interesting and special podcast lined up for you guys next week. More advice, more tips, and more about how we learned the hard way, and we're passing it on.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it for today's episode, and thank you so much.
See you guys.
See you.